JetBlue flight attendant Stephen Slater's story is being told around the world.
Yeah, take a look at this video. You won't believe it. It is on YouTube, and it's from a Chinese news website, literally being covered all around the world. As you can see here, it shows an animated version of what reportedly happened on that flight from Pittsburgh. Take a look at this. He grabs his beer as he opens up the door and slides down the chute.
I love the narration in Chinese.
Yes, of course.
And there he goes, and he's on his way.
And he goes home and meets up with his friend, and before the police come and dab him.
That was good stuff. Really, I mean, we really needed that animation, didn't we?
Yeah.
You know,
because we couldn't visualize it as it is.
Yeah. Anyway, joining us on the phone is Dr. Leah Lagos. She's a clinical and sports therapist at Springfield Psychological Associates. Leah, for the obvious reason that this was such a wacky thing he did, but it's kind of odd that people are just supporting this guy. What is that all about?
We've all had bad days, and people are projecting their own experiences onto Slater, and there's this kind of universal unfulfilled fantasy of wanting to be able to retaliate in work or when you're feeling abused by other people in the work setting.
Doctor, do you think there's any chance that this could be about how we feel about other passengers on airplanes? I mean, we've all encountered other rude passengers. You sure this just isn't about how we feel about flying?
Well, I do think this is about how we feel in general, projecting our own experiences, whether it's our own experiences with unruly passengers or people who are difficult to deal with in the workplace.
And also, you got to remember, I mean, I'm sure people now know when you fly, it's not a fun experience anymore. You got these people jammed into their seats, and all you see, the face of the airline is the flight attendant. It used to be a glamorous job. Now it is. And this guy's been doing it for years. Is there a point now where he just says, he said it, but does it have to do perhaps with the way things have changed in the air, too?
Perhaps it does. We oftentimes, as passengers, think of flight attendants as people who serve us coffee and tea with this really great smile. But their first and primary responsibility is to ensure our safety, to protect the safety of others, almost like a policeman or fireman. So in some ways, it may have to do with our perceptions of their role versus the reality. They're there to protect other people, and that's what Slater didn't do by endangering groundsmen's or crew keepers' lives on the ground by opening the emergency chute.
Yeah, I have to wonder why more people aren't coming out in support of the passenger, simply because they are in charge of our safety and security, and obviously this guy wasn't dealing with a full deck. You know, that has to make, I would imagine that would make a lot of people feel even more nervous about flying these days.
I imagine there's a percentage of people that do feel that way, but more who have had this unfulfilled fantasy of retaliating when they're in a work setting that causes stress. And it's really interesting because he reacted in a fight or flight response, but with both. He resisted and threw purportedly the passengers' bags off the airplane as well, and removed himself from the situation in a very dramatic way, fleeing the situation.
Doctor, what does it say about our society now, and not to pontificate too much, but we've changed. Now we've got these Facebook sites, social networking, and in an instant, this guy looks like he's headed for a reality TV show. What does this say about the way we respond to these events now?
That sometimes our unfulfilled fantasies are very powerful. It used to be that we fantasized of flying in the air like Superman, but that there's other fantasies that people have and can be very powerful in how we relate to each other. So looking at this as a situation where I would hope it doesn't become normalized to respond this way. I'm concerned that this stress response is being reinforced. So in sum, really looking at how we respond as a society to stress and what's acceptable, setting proper boundaries.
It may be fun for a lot of us to watch, but probably not a good thing to do in your own personal life, that is for sure. Dr. Leah Lagos, thanks so much for getting up with us early this morning.
You're welcome.
She is a clinical therapist at Springfield Psychological Associates, and we hope to talk to you again real soon.
Great.
You know, I guess the bottom line is don't forget the beer.
That's true, but
you know?
There is one other thing to say, and it's a way I was flying over the weekend, I was watching the way people interact with some of these flight attendants who are just literally exhausted, breaking their butts, doing their job, and, you know, give them a break, keep your seat in the upright position.
It is a tough job.
Don't take it out on them that the airlines have crammed you in there. Anyway.
All right, well, still ahead, one more day of